Hey everybody, this video is going to go over the homework assignments for the Week 8 module. So when you clicked on the tab for the Week 8 homework assignments, you saw 3 sub-tabs listed underneath. The first sub-tab is for Week 8 Assignment 1, Reference Page Entries. Now again, we are not writing a research paper in this course, but I want to give you a little bit of practice at making a reference page in APA format, right? But everything you need to do this assignment is right here in the instructions. You do not need to go look for anything except how to create the entry for each source. We are pretending like we have written a research paper, and now it's time to create our reference page, right? So I want it formatted in APA format. What you submit to me is going to look exactly like it would look at the end of the essay. References across the top, everything double spaced, 6 entries, there's 6 sources here. So you will have to figure out how each source needs to be formatted and then make sure the whole page is formatted correctly. But I've given you all the information you need for each source. So you have the information for a book that has one author, a print book that you would hold in your hands. You have all the information you need to create the entry for a book that has 2 authors, print book. You have all the information you need to create an entry for an online journal article with 1 author. You have all the information you need to create an entry for a print journal article with more than 1 author. You have everything you need to create the entry for a source that's information from a website with an author. You have everything you need to create the entry for a source that is information from a website without an author. So I've given you everything you need. If there's an author, you have their name there. You have the date of publication, if it's there. Everything you need is there. All you have to do then is say, okay, I have all of this information for a book that has 1 author. Now, how do I create the reference page entry for that source? That's what you're going to type up in your document. And again, I want the file that you attach and submit, I want it to look exactly like it should look at the end of a research paper in APA format. Go back to the sample essay that we looked at, look at the reference page there, go back through the PowerPoint and the video lesson and remind yourself of how the reference page is supposed to be formatted at the end of your research paper. As for the individual entries, you can use apa.org to help you. You can use the Purdue Online Writing Lab. You can use your textbook. You can use, there's so many places where you can find out how to create an entry for each of these types of sources. For the very last one, the information from a website without an author, go back to the PowerPoint useful information on APA format. That will help you tremendously. But that's all you're doing here. You're just taking these 6 sources and the information I've provided for you, creating reference entries for each one in APA format, and then arranging those in the appropriate order on your document, which should look exactly like the references page at the end of a research paper. Right? If you have any questions, feel free to ask. The next item in the Week 8 homework assignments is Week 8 Assignment 2, Sample Essays. This one is a little more time consuming, so you might want to take a look at this assignment and budget out when you want to work on it during the week, but it's not difficult. There's just a little bit more to it. Basically what we're doing here for Week 8 Assignment 2 is you are going to read 8 sample essays. And I know 8 is a lot. Most of them, though, are student samples. None of them are particularly long. None of them are complex. They're pretty easy reads. There are 8 of them, right? So when you go to the assignment for week 8 assignment 2, underneath the instructions, you're going to see that there are 9 files attached to the assignment. The first file is the assignment sheet that you can use as your template to type in your answers, just like we have for a lot of the other assignments throughout the course. Under that file, the remaining 8 are sample essays. There's the essay on Halloween, the movie review that we've looked at a couple times already. There's one on chili time. Those 2 essays are examples of exemplification or evaluation essays. The next 2 essays are The Perfect Pizza and The 5 Stages of Addiction Recovery. Those 2 essays are samples of process analysis essays. The next 2 essays are Parenting 101 and Singapore and Trinidad. Those 2 essays are examples of compare and contrast essays. And then the final 2 essays are Baseball Fans and Breakfast Foods. Those are both examples of classification essays. We're learning now more about how an essay is put together, because we focused most of the first half of the term on just standalone paragraphs, and then we switched gears and started learning more about full-blown essays. Your final exam essay is going to ask you to take one of your formal writing assignments, one of your paragraphs that you've written, and turn it into a full-length essay. So if you remember, writing assignment number 1 was the exemplification / evaluation paragraph. Writing assignment number 2 was the process analysis paragraph. Writing assignment number 3 was the compare and contrast paragraph, and writing assignment number 4 was the classification paragraph. Now it's time to go beyond just a standalone paragraph and write a full essay. But I don't want you to have to start from scratch completely, so you can choose one of your paragraphs to turn into a full essay. So that final exam essay is going to be either an exemplification evaluation essay, a process analysis essay, a compare contrast essay, or a classification essay. So I am giving you 2 examples of each type of essay. So read through them, and then there are questions to answer for each essay. So for the Halloween and chili time essay, there are 6 questions to answer for each essay. It's the same 6 questions for both essays, but you want to answer them for the Halloween essay and for the chili time essay. And then same thing for all the other essays. So each essay has its own questions listed underneath its title in the assignment instructions. Type in your answers after you've read each essay, right? This is just to draw your attention back to those main conventions, the main elements for each type of rhetorical strategy. So reading through the 2 essays for exemplification and evaluation, the questions I'm asking you are to help remind you of what you have to have in that type of essay, right? We've been learning about essays in general the last couple weeks, a general introductory paragraph, body paragraph, conclusion. Now we're going to take that and apply it and add in a specific rhetorical pattern. So we're not just writing a general essay, we're writing an evaluation essay, or a process analysis essay, or a compare contrast essay, or a classification essay. All right, so none of these questions are super difficult. It's really just to jog your memory and make sure that you remember all the elements that each different type of essay needs to have. Okay. If any of it confuses you, or if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Again, I know 8 essays seems like a lot, but they're really not very difficult to read. But you might want to budget your time and do a few here and there instead of trying to do all 8 at once. Totally up to you. And then the final item in the week 8 homework assignments is, of course, the week 8 discussion. This discussion is about plagiarism and other types of source abuse. So I talked a little bit about plagiarism when we went over APA format. I want to talk about a different aspect of plagiarism here in this discussion, because I think when we talk about plagiarism, a lot of people kind of know that if you take something word for word, and put it in your essay without citing it, that's plagiarism. But there are other ways that we can misuse sources that people don't necessarily see as wrong or as plagiarism, but they are also very serious, and they are things that you want to make sure you don't do in your writing. So here in the discussion prompt, there's a list of different types of source abuses that can happen when you're writing. Misstating a source, using a source out of context, overusing source material, relying too heavily on one source, plunking quotations, using blanket citations, failing to match in-text citations to reference page entries, and a couple of other related academic offenses. So I want you to read through that list of examples of other ways that we can kind of use our sources the wrong way, that we could still get in trouble for. And then what I want you to do for the discussion question then is, after you've looked over the list, which of them do you feel are most common, both in academics and the world at large? Choose 2 to 3 of those source abuses or academic offenses and explain where you see them show up. School, news, social media, your job, wherever. And how they affect the author's credibility and how they affect us as readers or viewers, right? So pick 2 to 3 of the source abuses, tell me where you see them show up the most, and then explain how those offenses, how those mistakes affect how we view the author and how it affects us as readers, right? It'll make more sense once you read through the list. If you have any questions about the prompt, please let me know. If you have any technical difficulties, let me know right away. Don't forget to try to have your first post, your response to the discussion question, posted by Thursday night at midnight, and then respond to 2 of your classmates by Sunday night at midnight. Remember, once the discussion closes, I can't really reopen it, so you want to make sure you get it done before it closes at midnight on Sunday night. If you have any questions or concerns about the homework, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, I look forward to reading what you guys write here for the discussion especially.